Brackla. Royal Brackla. Like the entirety of Speyside. Densest populations here, Brackla, down from the village here. So there you are on that river. The Moray Firth, the big mountains, and Brackla. Royal Brackla. Being in nature, listening to the birds, feeling the trees grow, you know, being in that environment and having a chance to enjoy some whiskey is one of my favorite things to do. Yeah, I'm so excited about just drinking whiskey that I might not be able to give an honest review this evening. It's a special treat when you get a chance to enjoy yourself in fine weather here in British Columbia, because our fine weather is sparse. Tonight, we have a very different cylinder to have a chance to try at the Wee Dram tonight. It's not a Speyside whiskey technically, but kind of within the region. It's a whiskey that was intended to pump up the Dewar's blend, and it's been hidden there. I'm really looking forward to the reveal on this one because it's not one that a lot of people have really gotten into. A very regal, naval, traditional color pattern, very attractive. The King's Own whiskey. So I think it was in about 1883 that Henry IV, don't quote me on that, gave his royal seal of approval. And Brackla became the first, I think, of 4, maybe 3 different whiskeys that actually have been given the title of royal. So let's bring her down. The devotion to quality that raised Royal Brackla exalted position remains unchanged. We still source malt locally and use the Cawdor Burns pure water. Crucially, our slow distilled spirit is then cloaked in the finest oak with a rich finish in supreme quality Oloroso sherry butts. The result is a whiskey of such character and complexity that it is today, as ever, fit for a king. Because the Oloroso sherry casks are the dominant wood that's used for maturation, I would expect that dried fruit and sweetness to be captured in the whiskey. And of course, this whiskey is 40% alcohol by volume. So the minimum, which is what it is. So it's time to pull the top off. You ready? And here we go. Into the evening light, His Majesty having been pleased to distinguish this by his royal command to supply his establishment, has placed this whiskey first on the list of British spirits, and, when known, should in truth be termed the drink divine. Wow. I mean, single malt whiskeys are confident, if nothing else, every time you read these bottles. That's a battle axe, 2 lions, a set of roses, 1 blooming, a tulip, a clover, a royal crown. There's an anchor right there. This looks like a sword. It's a pretty serious logo going on there. This is interesting. It has a pretty serious seal on the top. These intimidate me. Well, here we go. There's a break in the armor. Bring it straight down. Good. Hey, this is looking quite positive. I really like the deep wooden mahogany top to the cork with some sort of a golden stamp or seal. Navy with the gold, with the white. Sort of a very British naval feel, I would say. It's cool. Right now it's winning. And, oh my goodness. Oh. Thank goodness we got something this time. There's a dried fruit, sweet, slightly smoky, really nice aroma off the cork. This cork is notably heavy. This has a great tactile feel to it. I think it's about time that we take this to the glass. What do you say, Johnny? Here we go. Ooh, a little bit of a dance of joy as that spills out of the fresh bottle into the Glencairn. Sweet tones and a little bit of flower, a little bit of fresh spring flower bloom, but more honey sweetness and fruity sweetness. No, it's a really pleasant bouquet. But again, there's so little information on this whiskey that I wouldn't expect to know whether or not they color it. I really hope they don't. It's a mesmerizing thing, actually. It's quite beautiful. I would imagine this is going to be tasty, you know, really sweet and delicious. On the tongue initially, a really lovely apricot, a nice dry, evaporating sherry. It flushes nicely. Then it gets a bit gentle. There's a moment of fade away, which is always nice to have a second stage. And they have a nice spicy finish, a strong peppery thing that occurs right at the moment the whiskey begins to disappear. There's a bit of a hay, grass dryness that works constantly, so it's you're never sort of in like a luscious juiciness. It's more of a dried fruit, you know, that you would get in a package. It's but a really delicious flavor. Coats the tongue beautifully, holds nicely, fades away momentarily, then comes back in a light peppery wave. The finish is less than medium, pushing toward medium, but holding just from achieving that. But there's no doubt, I wouldn't go as far as to say this is a sherry bomb, anything like that. It has way more going on than just that, but the fruit plays a major role. Excellent whiskey, a really enjoyable whiskey. Outside of my personal favorite flavor palette, I'm definitely trying as hard as I can to enjoy the whiskey in the moment. So again, one of the challenges that we have when these whiskeys arrive from Beijing on duty free is that we don't have a natural pricing comparison. So Royal Brackla isn't sold in the BC liquor stores, and as a result, it's difficult for us to really line up exactly how you gauge its affordability. With that being said, if we need to put this toward our 5-star rating, which is where this generally runs toward, this part always stresses me out a little bit. Who am I to be saying what it deserves? Well, I'm gonna put this between a 3 and a 4. It should be a 4 because it does a fantastic job on its packaging. I enjoy drinking it. I would also say that it has a decent level of complexity and it has a bit of a finish. But I have to temper it and maybe talk about it being a 3. At the end of the day, is kind of that classic Highland Speyside whiskey, and sherried sweet whiskeys tend to rate lower for me personally. That's a tough call. It's interesting that when we set out on drinking this particular whiskey, that we anticipated the sweet sherries and the sort of lovely, beautiful, light drinking Speyside whiskey, and that's exactly what we got. Does it have the prowess? No. Does it hang in there with the great ones and what I consider great? No. But that's okay. That's okay. Cheers. What a wonderful night. The Wee Dram. Whose whiskey? Whose whiskey? The King's own whiskey.